To introduce this week's guest, here is Roy Swift of the Social Security Administration.
This week, Social Security in America pays a visit to a man who has made over 3,000 motion picture cartoons in his lifetime. In bringing you each week a story of one of the more than 24 million Americans receiving Social Security benefits, we hope to provide you with information about your Social Security protection. Since the very beginning of motion pictures, when we first laughed at the crazy antics of the Keystone Cops, or that animated cat in Aesop's fables, comedies and cartoons have become an important part of American humor. Let's visit Westchester, New York, and meet a man who brought laughter to the lips of millions, the man who created Mighty Mouse.
Tonight, the speaker will tell us of an experience in his life.
Although now 80, Paul Terry, creator of Mighty Mouse and other cartoons, still is interested in a variety of things, including public speaking. Here, Paul Terry addresses members of his speech class.
Well, I'd like to speak to you gentlemen tonight about saving your energy and how to live as long as you possibly can. You know, everyone should live as long as he can, just from the standpoint of curiosity.
During the early 1900s, Paul Terry worked in the newspaper field as an artist and photographer. In 1906, he worked long and hard to cover the San Francisco earthquake for the San Francisco Chronicle, only to see the newspaper destroyed by the fire which followed the quake. A few years later, while working as a newspaper cartoonist for the New York Press, Paul Terry met Winsor McCay. Mr. McCay was the creator of Gertie the Dinosaur, the world's first animated cartoon, and he persuaded Paul Terry to enter the animated cartoon business. In 1915, after many months of hard work, Paul Terry completed his first animated cartoon. It was a takeoff on Herman, the Great Magician, and he named it Little Herman. He sold his first cartoon in New Rochelle, New York, to the Tannhauser Studio. The building that housed the Tannhauser Studio still stands on the corner of Echo and Post in New Rochelle. Something that happened in this building back in 1915 probably explains why today's motion picture cartoons are usually humorous. At that time, Paul Terry was interested in seeing the reaction of children to his Little Herman cartoon. So he invited some children in from off the street to see the film. The responsive laughter of the children not only helped sell the film to the Tannhauser Studio, but also convinced Paul Terry that the laughter of little children was contagious. And if he produced the type of cartoons which made children laugh, the rest of the world would laugh along with them. Today's cartoons are ample proof that Paul Terry's convictions in 1915 were well-founded. Basically, the making of a motion picture cartoon has not changed much over the years. It still takes thousands of drawings and many man-hours of work to make the average motion picture cartoon, which takes only 6 or 7 minutes to be shown on a theater screen. The process takes almost as long today as it did when Paul Terry produced Aesop's Fables here in 1920. Starting with a production meeting, the producer, writer, and animator create the story on the storyboard, as seen here in the background. Then the composer is called upon to write the musical score. After the composer is finished, the orchestra records his music, complete with sound effects. Here, the editor counts the frames on the soundtrack to match sound with action. Next, the animators take over. takes many drawings to make one movement. And thousands of drawings to make one cartoon. At this point, the drawings are filmed for a test print, which is then viewed by the production staff. If the test is approved, transparent celluloid pictures called cells are made from the drawings. The cell system, which was developed many years ago, is still used today. After the drawings are traced in ink onto cells, the cells are painted. Here, the long step-by-step process is nearing the end. After photographing the cells, the film is developed. The sound is added. Then the film is edited and printed, ready to be shown on a motion picture screen. Many of the people who worked in the early days of motion pictures were among the first to receive Social Security benefits. Millions of Americans today are receiving benefits based on their years of work under Social Security. People who are covered by Social Security can look forward to receiving monthly cash benefits when they retire. But this is only part of the story of Social Security benefits. Social Security protects the young as well as the old. A young worker, after only a year and a half of work, has the protection of survivor's insurance. And if a worker is totally disabled for a year or longer because of accident or disease, and has worked 5 out of the last 10 years under Social Security, he and his family can get monthly benefits for as long as he is unable to work because of his disability. If he dies, then his family will be eligible for benefits. Disability benefits are important protection right up to age 65. And survivor's benefits are important protection for people of all ages, even those who have retired. Medicare provides health insurance protection for almost everyone who is 65 and over. In 1955, Paul Terry sold his motion picture cartoon business, but he still enjoys visiting the studio where he produced Aesop's Fables and the Terry Tunes. Today's children laugh at the same Paul Terry cartoons on television as their parents and grandparents laughed at in theaters years ago.
While I was in the animated cartoon business and a newspaper artist, I always had a longing to do sculpture, but somehow or other, in a busy world, you never had a chance. But now that I've retired and looking for something that's worthwhile and something that you can never reach the end of, I've taken to sculpture as one of the facets of my existence.
This bust is the latest of many sculptured forms which show the wide range of the artistic talents of Paul Terry. Life begins at 80 certainly applies to Mr. Terry. In addition to public speaking and sculpturing, he also paints. Of all the little animated cartoon characters that Paul Terry created, his favorite was Mighty Mouse, the little mouse that championed the oppressed and rescued fair damsels in distress. Mighty Mouse symbolized the triumph of good over evil.
Mighty Mouse was built on a theory that man's extremity is God's opportunity. Now, when you reduce it to mice, you only had to put the mice in a tough position, and then they would say, isn't there anybody that can help me? And sure enough, from the sky or somewhere would come, Mighty Mouse would come and save the day.
Aware of the moral responsibilities shared by producers of films viewed by the public, Paul Terry assumed an additional obligation to children.
You made pictures for children. You always had in the back of your mind that you were trying to guide them to a certain extent. And give them something to hang on to. And so because the way a twig bends, that's the way the bough grows. And if children are well grounded in fundamentals at the very beginning, you won't have very much to worry about.
Many pioneers of the motion picture industry, like Paul Terry, are receiving Social Security retirement benefits, along with the protection of Medicare. Practically all Americans 65 and over are protected by Medicare hospital insurance. Hospital insurance helps pay for care in a hospital, and when the patient leaves the hospital, it can help pay for medically necessary follow-up care in an extended care facility or at home. An extended care facility is a specially qualified nursing home or part of a hospital where skilled nursing care is available around the clock. If the doctor decides the patient needs only part-time services of nurses, physical therapists, or other health workers, hospital insurance helps pay for services provided by a home health agency. Medicare also helps pay for outpatient diagnostic services, which the doctor orders to help determine the nature and severity of the illness. In addition to hospital insurance, people 65 and over may sign up for medical insurance to help pay doctor bills and other kinds of medical services. 9 out of 10 Americans 65 or over have signed up for Medicare's medical insurance. Since 1915, when Paul Terry sold his first animated cartoon, motion pictures have become one of the giants of American industry. Paul Terry was an important part of this growth. Today, Mr. Terry is over 80. He has retired, but he enjoys keeping busy. Now he is doing many things he always wanted to do, but could never find the time. His philosophy of looking forward to each and every day as a new and exciting experience gives Paul Terry a zest for living. The Terry tunes he originated so many years ago will continue to entertain children and adults the world over for years to come.
We hope you've enjoyed our visit with Mr. Paul Terry. Many other pioneers of the motion picture industry who are 65 or over are now covered by Medicare. You know, Medicare provides 2 kinds of health insurance protection: hospital insurance to help pay hospital bills and medical insurance to help pay doctor bills. Together, these 2 plans make up complete health insurance protection. And if you have any questions about your Medicare benefits, get in touch with your Social Security office.